As we mentioned a moment ago, the U.S. Navy is scouring the waters hundreds of miles off the coast of Japan for 3 U.S. sailors. After a Navy plane crashed in the Philippine Sea yesterday, 8 others on board were rescued. Joining me now is Eli Lake. He's a Bloomberg View columnist. We appreciate you coming in on Thanksgiving, Eli. First of all, happy Thanksgiving. And I wonder, you know, when you think about the numbers, the sheer numbers, 22 U.S. military non-combat crashes this year. That's up from 16 last year over the same time period. Obviously, there's still time here in 2017, and we want to see this problem fixed as quickly as possible. First of all, based on your vast expertise, what's your sense about what has been going wrong?
Well, we've already seen the Navy address this problem, specifically with the 7th Fleet, and they say that there's just issues of preparation and training, and it needs to be addressed. But it's a particularly bad time strategically because while everyone's focused on North Korea, the 7th Fleet is there to ensure freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. The South China Sea is the big contest right now between the U.S. and China, particularly with militarized islands. It's a problem that President Trump inherited, but it's a problem ultimately that if it comes to it, the 7th Fleet will have to solve. And for these sorts of accidents really do have a bearing on the perception of the competency of the Navy that's there really to protect the freedom of navigation for the entire world in that area.
You make a great point, Eli, because of what the context of what's happening in the region, the territorial disputes with China, and also the nuclear threat from North Korea, of course. Have you gotten any sense from your sources that this is hampering the U.S. Navy at all in the region, or is it more just something we don't want to hype up, but it's a concern that bears watching?
Listen, I mean, the U.S. Navy is still the most powerful Navy in the world. The Trump administration's military budgets have committed to increasing its size after, you know, really almost a decade of cutbacks. So in that respect, you know, the message from the Navy is that, you know, we'll get through this, but it is a problem that needs to be addressed. There was speculation that some of the crashes earlier this year were perhaps due to some sort of cyber warfare that's been put to bed at this point. So it really is a question of trying to get the Navy to sort of continue to meet their high standards, which seems to have slipped. Yeah,
last question, Eli. You mentioned the budget, of course, always a big issue. Is this something your sources think, hey, you can throw money at the problem, or is there something deeper going on in terms of not just the infrastructure, but the leadership in place?
Well, when you're talking about institutions, it's more than just money. It's really about having accountability and leadership. And, you know, I think we saw that, you know, when the, you know, I think the Pacific Fleet commander currently has sort of said he's not going to be continuing his term. So there is an element there where I think there has been some accountability at the top, and there will continue to be so.
Eli Lake, we appreciate you coming in on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for bringing in your expertise. Obviously, front and center on all of our minds right now is the fate of those 3 missing sailors. We appreciate you bringing in those facts.
Absolutely. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Ed.